Hello, YouTube. Yes, I have a box here. And yes, I'm covering up my address with a questionable 800 number. And using the packing label to cover up that little thing that they put on the side of UPS packages and whatever. Anyhow, let's unbox this thing. Yeah, get these out of the way. Come here. Open. What do we have? Oh yes, we have it. We have a Unicomp keyboard. Oh wow, this thing is very light compared to the real Model M. There she is. Let's peel this tape off. Oh, it's so new looking. Oh my god. Look at that. So, let's show you which version I got. I got the USB version. This is the cable that comes in the USB version. It's a pretty typical looking USB cable. It's nothing special, but looks like it's good enough to get the job done. It's a pretty typical looking USB cable that's rather short, but the good thing about USB is the extension cables are everywhere, so finding one is not a problem. So, here is a Unicomp keyboard. There's some imperfections in the plastic. Keycaps come off. Did they all come off? Yeah, they do. Yeah, all the keycaps come off. That's pretty nice. Okay, that makes me very happy. That feels very much like a Model M. Actually, it does feel like a Model M. The only real difference is that the sound isn't quite as trebly and metallic as the older ones. I think that's because of the steel plate that's in the old ones that sound kind of reverberates through the whole thing. However, with this one, it doesn't. It still feels exactly the same though. It doesn't sound the same, quite the same, but it feels exactly the same. So that's good enough for me. As you can see, this is where the IBM logo used to go. Nothing there now. I suppose I could put a sticker there. It looks like there's a little imperfection in the plastic here. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. There's some here too, like blemishes and a dent here. Looks like the plastic wasn't formed as nicely as it could have been, but beggars can't be choosers. I'm not going to wait another week for a keyboard that probably works fine. Here's the bottom. Still has the nice big keyboard stand things. Still uses the same hex screws that the old Model M's do. Model M 5-volt Unicomp. There you go. There's the bottom label. 8/16/2012. This keyboard is brand spanking new. It was made last month. That's awesome. There seem to be squares here too. I don't know what these squares are for. And there is the patch job for where the speaker vestige would go. However, that's not there anymore, since newer computers just do system beeps through the computer anyway. One thing I've noticed, the Unicomp has the drip tray, or the drip holes, the spill holes, rather, for if you spill something in the keyboard, whereas my 1988 Model M does not have these. I don't know if this was a Lexmark, I don't know if this was something that happened while at Lexmark, or if it just happened later in the Model M's life, but my 1988 one does not have that. again, I must emphasize the sound is different. I don't think there's a big steel plate in these like in the old ones, so that's why I can lift it easily with one hand. I mean, it's not a light keyboard, but it's not a super heavy keyboard like the Model M is. I mean, there's a little bit less meat to it, but it's still a great feeling keyboard. It feels exactly the same as the old Model M's do. So if any of you out there are thinking of purchasing a Unicomp, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a keyboard that's very, very, very similar to what Model M's were like in the Lexmark and Maxi Switch days of when they were manufactured. And you can get them with Windows keys and right-click keys. I never use the right-click key, but I do use the Windows keys occasionally on computers when I do start search on Windows 7, so there you go. And with new operating systems taking more advantage of the super key, or the Windows key, it's key, to have that key on there. There you have it, folks. That is the Unicomp Classic 104 USB version. Now, if you get the PS2 version, it'll probably be the same, except that it'll have a cable with PS2 on the end instead of USB. I believe this is USB 2.0 or 1.1 or whatever. I'm not sure. Either way, cable is not detachable anymore, like on the old Model M's. And the funny thing is, the cable's over here instead of back here where it was on the old ones. Is there any remnants of where that used to be? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, there's no real remnants of it there. And the nice thing is, just like the real Model M, it still has the tray. So I can put pens and things up here. So I shall plug this into a computer, and we shall test it out. One thing I forgot to mention is that Unicomp and the IBM Lexmark and Maxi Switch Model M's all have 2-key rollover. So whether you buy the USB or the PS2 version of the Unicomp keyboard, it doesn't really matter because you won't get any key rollover advantages. However, if you still use interrupt commands, for example, Control-Alt-Delete is an interrupt command. If you still use those, I would recommend getting the PS2 version because I am not sure if they've implemented a way for a USB to use interrupt commands. I don't believe it does, but someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. Before I start the machine, I must show you how good this looks on my desk. Got my black keyboard here, black monitor, semi-black webcam, black speakers, black router, black amplifier, black monitor, oh god, beige computer and beige keyboard. But over here, it's glorious. So let's turn the computer on and test this thing. Will I get lights? I heard a beep. Yep, num lock turned on. We got a functional keyboard. And we're starting Windows, so I'll get into Notepad and we'll diddle around. Alright, we're at the Windows screen here. Alright, numlock works. So how appropriate, I'll enter my password. That feels the same. That feels practically the same as my 1988 Model M, except that the sound is just a little bit different. So if you're one of the keyboard aficionados that likes the Model M's for the sound, you definitely want to get the real thing. Get the late 80s and early 90s ones if you want the right sound. The reason I say late 80s is because the earlier ones didn't have LEDs up here. So, you know, there you have it. Alright, let's get into Notepad here. You know what, I'll do it with the keyboard. So, hit Windows key, opens the Start menu, and type Notepad. There we are, Notepad. So let's just type different things in here. I'll type the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Yep. Well, apparently it's the lazy doog. There we go. Test out the numbers here. Yeah, they all work. Everything works. Yep. Keyboard works fine. Feels the same as the Model M, the original Model M's. It really does. It feels exactly the same. The only difference being that it just doesn't sound the same. This is my opinion on the Unicomp keyboard. If you want a modern, brand new Model M, this is definitely the way to go, because it is going to give you what it was like in the Lexmark and Maxi Switch days. Pretty much to the T, except for the speaker vestige. And, well, detachable cord was eliminated in the Lexmark days. So, there you have it. Nice thing is, these newer ones do have the replaceable keycaps. So, I don't know if they didn't used to have that, but they do now if they didn't before. But I know some of the Lexmark ones didn't have the replaceable keycaps, so you know, there you have it. And yeah, I think it's a nice keyboard. I really do. It's a very, very nice keyboard. It definitely lends itself well to the original. So, what are my conclusions about this Unicomp keyboard? It's a Model M. Flat out, I'll tell you, it's a Model M. It types exactly the same as a Model M does. The only differences are you don't get the metallic-y type sound, and the keyboard isn't as heavy. And the reason the sound isn't quite as metallic is because I don't think there's a steel plate in the back of these like there are in the old ones, making them lighter, and the sound has less of a metallic ring and it has less treble to the sound when you type. So it's more, it resonates more into the plastic instead of something like the steel plate. But it's a great keyboard. I'd recommend these to anybody. They're because if you want a Model M with Windows keys and a right-click key, you can get one. If you want a Model M with USB with no adapters, you can get one, and this is your answer to all of that. Anyhow, these are the Model M's you can buy new. They're still manufactured. This one was manufactured the 16th of August this year, so it's brand spanking new. Anyhow, this has been a showcase of the Unicomp Classic 104 USB Model M keyboard. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and have a good one, everybody. Ciao.